One of these shows was in Brooklyn, and I momish didn't know anyone in Brooklyn, but I go on my Facebook and I see Usher G. That's his name on Facebook, and he's a DJ, right? He's always, throwing down these amazing sets. Good, like he's good. He's good. So I asked him, can I crash at your house? And he said for sure. So it's like 1 in the morning after this concert. I take the train to his house. I think it's in like Bensonhurst, and I get there, and it's funny. Like he told me the code to his house, but like I unlocked that lock, but the bottom lock was locked. So his dad, he had like told me I can come very last minute. He's like, yeah, my house is your house. Here's the code. I ended up like sleeping in his backyard. But when I get there in the morning, he wakes up for work. He wakes up for work. I'd called him in the morning. He saw my missed calls. He's like, oh wow. He realizes I was outside. He lets me in. Opens his house to me. I'm tired and cold and he just gives me the warmest hug. He makes breakfast for me in his parents' beautiful house, and he just catches me up on how he's been. And he was just vibing. So he had such a good thing going. He was working at a warehouse as a manager. He had this little motorcycle he would ride, and it was just a very beautiful reunion. And I hope anything I share will be Eloy for his neshama, and I really miss him, and it's very difficult for everybody. So I think when we talk about the topic of being Nosei Be'ol Chavero, there's a couple Havaminas people might have that may get in the way of trying to embody this midah. So first I want to remind everyone that it's a midah, right? It's listed in that Mishnah. It's teaching about midos, things that you can acquire. There's no type of person who is an empathy person. That's not a thing. People are people. You have introverts and extroverts, different types of people, different abilities of handling, how much social energy you can have and stuff. But we're social creatures. Hashem created us with a love of a kahila, a love of our friends, and it might take work to develop this midah. So get that out of your mind. There's no it's not for me. That's not part of our makeup. Actually, Ben Simon and I were speaking last night just about the challenges of living in a very busy city. If you live in Brooklyn or something, it might be difficult having a lot of people around all the time. And you know why it could be difficult? Because naturally, we're attuned to other people. We have radars, we have sensors that pick up on other people's energy, other people's feelings. And when there's so many people, it's like a typhoon. It's an overload. We can't handle it. Why? Because we're sensitive to people. So people in that position often, they kind of have to deaden it. But the natural state is that we're receptive to people, and that's what Hashem wants from us. So there are a couple levels of Nosei Be'ol Chavero, many levels, and at each level of a person's interaction with their chaver, you can achieve this midah. So wherever you're at, Rebbe says about the mitzvah. If you take someone's mashko in his garment, you have to return it to him that night, right? Because it says, with what will he sleep? With what will he sleep at night, right? So the Torah asks that question: how is he going to go to sleep? So yeah, you as the lender, that's on your mind as you return the mashko. How's he going to go to sleep? So that's like this cognitive domain. In your head, you're thinking about your friend. We spoke about Shiva. Did you know there's a halacha? You're not supposed to speak at the Shiva until the Avel speaks. So you show up to the Shiva, and you don't say anything. Yet, however, your proximity to him, your literal, physical being there, you're showing up, that works. That does something. So even without speaking, you can be really lifting people up. And then when it comes to speech to help a friend is tricky. I don't like the term to give chizuk because it implies, similar to what the Rosh Yeshiva said, that that you're giving love and there's a chisaron and you're trying to fill his chisaron, but he's more cognitive of the chisaron than you are, so you give love and you're filling up his little hole, but there might be some more to go. But that's not really the point. The point is you're not giving chizuk, you're being there with him. So in your helping relationships, when you're with a person who's receiving help, so reframe, don't think of it as giving chizuk. Like the Rosh Yeshiva said, you're being there with the person in their matziv. And for all those people that are afraid of that encounter, let me reassure you, don't take this as it's not a responsibility thing. There's no responsibility when you are being empathetic to someone. You don't have any responsibility to alleviate their pain, to solve their problems, to get them to any place. That's not what you're supposed to do. Just being there with their problem, with them and their matziv, being there like the Avel, just going to them and being there. That's what you should do. That's how you do it. Now there's a whole field of how do you be there with someone. So Clara Hill, who wrote a book on helping skills, right? There's a whole field of skills. So she breaks it down into 3 sections. You have the exploration stage, the insight stage, and the action stage. However, in most helping relationships, what happens most is exploration. That the helper uses the things they say to broaden the helpee, right? That person in need, they're broadening the person's understanding of whatever their process is. And the main skills used are just reflecting. Oh, this is what you said. This is how you feel. This is what you just told me. That's the point. The point and the basis, I think, for this is the pasuk that Rebbe quotes, that Mayim amukim belevish, that the answers to people's problems and their tough matziv, it's inside of them. So you come with your eitzas and your insights, and maybe you should just do that. Take the word should out of your vocabulary. You're not a Baal Eitzah that and if you were a Baal Eitzah, it'd be very difficult, because then you'd be responsible for this person right now. And no, even a Baal Eitzah, how is he supposed to know what this person needs? So don't do that to yourself, and don't do that to this person. I want you guys to know that being helpful for another person, being with them in their pain, is something that's achievable for every person. Hashem built us to support each other, and He expects it from us at every level, with our thoughts, with our physical proximity, with our words. So when you explore a topic with somebody, don't jump to action to say this is what you should do. This is how you should alleviate this feeling that you're feeling. It's really hard for me to say anything because my mind has really been away from everything. I think this past week for me and for a lot of people, it's been really tough. But I just would want to express that being in an environment and being in a growth community that's centered around being mechazik others, I think that's probably the most valuable thing I have in my life, and I think I'm just so grateful for that. So I want to thank everybody, and I want to really encourage and push people to consider yourself a helper, someone who can be nosebel chavero, someone who is ready for that great zuchus to be helpful for someone. And I give us all a bracha that we should be together for so many more simchas, and be together in Yerushalayim as soon as possible.